negative is the rarest major blood type on Earth, and it doesn't distribute randomly across humanity. It clusters, heavily and specifically, in one corner of the ancient world. And the population that carried it in the highest concentrations wasn't just any population. They were the oldest surviving genetic layer of Europe. The people who were here before the farmers, before the steppe migrants, before recorded history even began. Here's who they were. Blood type is determined by antigens, protein markers sitting on the surface of your red blood cells. The ABO system classifies blood into 4 types based on which antigens are present. Type A carries A antigens. Type B carries B antigens. Type AB carries both. Type O carries neither. It is defined by an absence, a deletion mutation in the gene that would otherwise produce A or B antigens. The Rh factor adds a second layer. Positive means you carry the Rh antigen. Negative means you don't. O negative therefore means you carry no ABO antigens and no Rh antigens simultaneously. The most antigen-absent blood type in the human system. That double absence is not random. It is the result of 2 separate genetic mutations that both have to be present simultaneously to produce O negative blood, which means O negative doesn't appear by accident. It appears where the populations that originally carried those mutations concentrated, mixed, and passed them forward across thousands of years of unbroken lineage. O-negative blood runs at approximately 7% globally across all human populations. But that global average masks a dramatic geographic concentration. In sub-Saharan Africa, O-negative frequency drops below 1%. In East Asian populations, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, it runs between 0.1 and 1%. In South Asian, Southeast Asian, and indigenous American populations, it is similarly rare. In Europe, the picture changes entirely. Across the continent as a whole, O-negative runs at approximately 8%. But within specific European populations, it climbs dramatically. In Spain and Portugal, particularly in the Basque Country, O-negative frequency reaches between 25 and 35%, the highest concentration of O-negative blood anywhere on Earth. In Britain and Ireland, it runs at around 13%. In Scandinavia, between 6 and 9%. In Eastern Europe, it drops back toward the global average. That distribution is a map, and it is pointing directly at a specific ancient population. The Basque people of northern Spain and southwestern France are genetically unique in Europe. Their language, Euskara, is a language isolate. It shares no documented relationship with any other language on Earth. Not with the Indo-European languages that cover virtually all of Europe. Not with any language in Asia, Africa, or the Americas. It is linguistically alone. A survivor from a world that existed before the Indo-European expansion reshaped the continent. Their genetics match their language. While most Europeans carry a significant percentage of ancestry from 2 major prehistoric migrations, Anatolian farmers arriving around 8,000 years ago and Yamnaya steppe pastoralists arriving around 5,000 years ago, the Basques carry dramatically lower levels of both. Their genome clusters instead with a much older population group, the Western hunter-gatherers. The nomadic peoples who inhabited Europe during and immediately after the last ice age between 40,000 and 8,000 years ago. The Basques are, in the most literal genetic sense, the closest living relatives of the original Europeans, the people who were here before farming, before the steppe migrations, before almost everything that made Europe what it became. And they carry O-negative blood at 25 to 35% frequency. That is not a coincidence. That is a direct inheritance. The Western hunter-gatherers who seeded the Basque population carried O-negative blood in high concentrations. And the Basques, through thousands of years of geographic isolation in their mountain homeland between the Pyrenees and the Bay of Biscay, preserved that ancient genetic signature more completely than almost any other population in Europe. So who were these Western hunter-gatherers who carried this blood? They were the original inhabitants of post-glacial Europe. Lean, mobile, highly adaptable people who had survived the last ice age by following game animals across a continent still releasing itself from glacial ice. They hunted mammoth, aurochs, and red deer. They fished coastal waters and river systems. They buried their dead with ochre and grave goods, suggesting belief systems and ritual complexity far beyond what was once assumed of pre-agricultural people. Ancient DNA extracted from their skeletal remains, from sites in Spain, Luxembourg, Hungary, and Scandinavia, reveals a genetic profile startlingly different from modern Europeans. Many of them combined dark or olive skin with blue or green eyes, a pigmentation combination that virtually disappeared as later farming populations mixed into the gene pool and introduced the skin-lightening variants now common across the continent. They were also significantly more genetically diverse than the populations that replaced them. The Anatolian farmers who arrived 8,000 years ago represented a population bottleneck, a smaller, more genetically homogeneous group that rapidly expanded as they spread across Europe, absorbing and replacing the hunter-gatherers. That older diversity contracted. The populations that preserved the most Western hunter-gatherer ancestry, the Basques, the coastal Atlantic populations of Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and Brittany, also preserved the highest frequencies of O-negative blood. If your blood is O-negative, you are carrying the most direct surviving link to these people. Britain and Ireland's O-negative frequency, running at around 13%, is significantly higher than continental European averages outside the Basque region. The reason traces back to the same Atlantic coastal migration route that brought Western hunter-gatherer ancestry into northwestern Europe in the first place. After the last ice age, as the glaciers retreated northward, Europe was repopulated from refugia, areas where humans had sheltered during the coldest period. The Iberian Peninsula was one of the most significant of these refugia. As temperatures rose and land became habitable again, populations expanded northward out of Iberia along the Atlantic coast, into France, Britain, Ireland, and Scandinavia. They carried Western hunter-gatherer genetics, and they carried O-negative blood. Later waves: Anatolian farmers, Yamnaya steppe migrants, diluted but did not eliminate this ancient signal. In Britain and Ireland particularly, the Atlantic coast populations maintained higher levels of hunter-gatherer ancestry than inland European populations, partly through geographic isolation, and partly through the simple mathematics of being at the end of the migration trail. If your family has deep roots in Ireland, Scotland, Wales, or the Atlantic coast of Britain, your O-negative blood is almost certainly carrying a direct line back to those post-glacial coastal migrations, people who walked out of an Ice Age refugium in Iberia 10,000 years ago and kept moving north until the ocean stopped them. O-negative has one property that makes it medically unique. It is the universal donor blood type. O-negative red blood cells can be transfused into any patient regardless of their blood type, because the absence of ABO and Rh antigens means the recipient's immune system won't reject them. Every hospital blood bank in the world maintains emergency O-negative reserves specifically because of this property. The reason O-negative is the universal donor is precisely because it carries the fewest antigens, the fewest markers that trigger immune response, which means O-negative blood is, in immunological terms, the most antigen-neutral blood in the human system. Some researchers have proposed that the high frequency of O-negative blood in Atlantic coastal European populations may correlate with specific immune system adaptations, that the Western hunter-gatherer populations who developed and carried this blood type had immune profiles shaped by tens of thousands of years of exposure to the specific pathogens of Ice Age Europe, a different immune landscape than the one Anatolian farmers brought with them from the Near East, or the one the Yamnaya carried from the steppe. Your O negative blood is not just a medical classification. It is an immune system shaped by an ice age that ended 10,000 years ago, preserved in your veins because the populations who carried it survived everything history threw at them. So, if you are O negative, and if you have spent your life being told you are a universal donor, a rare type, something medically unusual, you know why now. You didn't just inherit a blood type. You inherited the oldest bloodline in Europe. Subscribe. See ya.